Hello class, today we are learning to identify functions. So how do I identify functions is our essential question. Learning intention, I am learning to identify functions. But before we get started, there is a warm-up question. Please solve the absolute value equation. Pause the video and solve on your own now, please. Okay, I hope you tried and I hope you got it done. First thing I have to do is to get my absolute value all by itself. This has got to be isolated. I've added 10 to it, so I've got to subtract 10 from both sides. And I end up with the absolute value of 3x plus 6 is equal to 12. Now I can solve. I know I have to set up the two equations. 3x plus 6 is equal to 12, or 3x plus 6 is equal to negative 12. Step 1. I've got to get the 3x by itself, so I subtract 6 from both sides. 3x is equal to 6. 3 times x, the opposite of multiplication is to divide, and x is equal to 2. Or, same thing again. I will subtract 6 from both sides. 3x is equal to negative 18. I divide by 3, and x is equal to negative 6. Okay, so if we're going to work with functions, if you didn't understand how to do the absolute value, please back it up and do it again. The reason we have a positive and negative 12 is because those are both 12 units from 0. An absolute value is the number of units away from 0. And you'll always have a positive 1 and a negative 1. Okay, so we're getting ready to go into functions. A function is a relationship in which each first word is input. We usually call it y, or x, is paired with exactly one, what do we call y? Output. So in a function, each x goes to only one y, or each domain goes to only one range. So as I'm looking at this, I am looking at my domain. A goes to 1, B goes to 2, C goes to 3, and D goes to 4. So this is a function. Because each input goes to only one output. Okay, let's look at the next one. 0 goes to 7, but as I'm looking at 5, 5 goes to 1, and 5 also goes to 7. Well, that violates the rule that each input can only go to one output. So that one is not a function. With our mapping, we're looking to see where the lines go. Okay, so let's look at this one here. 2 goes to 2, 3 goes to 1, 4 goes to 2, and 7 goes to 2. I'm looking at these numbers here. Do each of them only go to a single number? Yes. So this is a function. it says each input can only go to one output. This 5 went to 1 and it went to 7, so that was not a function. Even though we've got 3 of the numbers going to 2, this is still a function. Okay, more than one input can go to the same output. So they can go to the same output, but they cannot have the same input going to 2 different outputs. So if you're still struggling, back the video up and go through it again. Okay, which of the following sets of points or functions? Once again, what do we look at, the x or the y's? We look at the x's. So I've got -2, -3, 2, and 3. Are any of those highlighted numbers the same? No, so this is a function because x does not repeat. Let's look at the next one. I've got 0, I've got another 0, I've got a 2 and another 2. My x's repeat. If my x's repeat, it is not a function. Why? Because 0 is mapped to 0 and 0 is mapped to 2. 2 is mapped to 0 and 2 is mapped to 2. So you've got those mappings that takes your x value to the 2 different numbers. In other words, x repeats. Okay, can you do the next one on your own? Is it or is it not a function? Pause the video and see if you can do it. Okay, here we go. I hope you try it on your own. I've got a 2, I've got a -2, I've got a -3, and I've got a +3. Are my x values repeating? No. If they do not repeat, they are a function. Okay, if x does not repeat, you have a function. If x does repeat, you do not have a function. Which of the following tables represent functions? So as I'm looking, 5, 3, 5. So this is not a function. 2, 0, 2, 8. This is not a function. -2, 0, 2, 1. Y is a function. Okay. -2, 0, 2, 0. This is not a function. Okay, y is a function because the x values do not repeat. Okay, remember B/C means because, porque. Now, success criteria. I know I'm successful when I can identify which relations are functions. Short and skinny of it. Functions means each input exactly one output is mapped to. So not only did you learn what a function is, you learned some more symbolism. So if you're still not sure, make sure you back the video up and watch it again.